The warning lights flashed red across the bridge of the Xiangnam Dawn. Captain Daejung stood perfectly still, his hands resting on the command console. He watched the view screen as 5 massive warships appeared from nowhere, surrounding his cargo vessel like wolves circling prey. "Captain, we have multiple contacts," Pilot Taeyang said from his station. His voice stayed calm, but his knuckles were white on the controls. "They just dropped out of stealth. All around us," Daejung nodded slowly. He had seen this before many years ago. The ships were Threxian raiders. Their dark hulls were covered in scars from past battles. Weapons ports glowed with charging energy. These were not traders or explorers. These were killers. "How many?" Daejung asked. 5 warships, Captain. Each one is twice our size." Taeyang checked his instruments. "Their weapons are hot. Shields are up." Lieutenant Hyunwoo turned from the weapons station. He was young, maybe 25, with fire in his eyes. "Captain, request permission to charge our defensive systems." "Wait," Daejung said quietly. "Let them make the first move." The communications panel beeped. An incoming transmission. Daejung pressed the button and a face appeared on the screen. It was not human. The alien had gray skin stretched tight over a skull that seemed too large. 4 eyes, arranged in a square pattern, stared at him with cold amusement. Sharp teeth showed when it smiled. "Human vessel," the alien said. Its voice was like gravel grinding together. "I am Vex Prime Calthor of the Threxian fleet. You are now our prisoners. Power down your engines. Prepare to be boarded." Daejung studied the alien commander. He saw arrogance in those 4 eyes. He saw certainty. Calthor believed this would be easy. "We are a cargo ship," Daejung replied. "We carry medical supplies and farming equipment. We are no threat to you." Calthor laughed. The sound made several crew members flinch. "That is why you will surrender. Your kind values life too much. You are soft, weak. The galaxy knows this about humans." He leaned closer to his screen. "You have 2 options. Surrender now and live as slaves. Or resist and die. You have 10 minutes to decide." The transmission ended. The bridge fell silent except for the steady beep of instruments. Engineer Ji-won climbed up from the lower deck. She was short and thin with oil stains on her uniform. "Captain, I heard everything." "They think we're just a cargo ship?" "They do," Daejung said. Hyunwoo slammed his fist on his console. "We can't just surrender. We have weapons. We can fight." "Against 5 warships?" Dr. Yoonji spoke from the medical station at the back of the bridge. "Look at them, Hyunwoo. Each one has enough firepower to tear us apart." "She's right," Taeyang added. "Our weapons are minimal. Mining lasers and a few old railguns. We'd last maybe 30 seconds in a real fight." Daejung turned to face his crew. All 8 of them were looking at him, waiting, trusting. He had served with some of them for 5 years. Others were newer, but they all believed he would find a way. "Ji-won," he said quietly, "what's the real status of our weapons?" The engineer smiled. It was not a happy smile. "Well, Captain, if we're being honest about what this ship really is, we're being honest now." Ji-won pulled out a data pad and tapped it several times. On the main screen, a new schematic appeared. It showed the Xiangnam Dawn, but not as it appeared from outside. This schematic showed hidden systems, weapon batteries disguised as cargo containers, a reactor core 3 times more powerful than a normal cargo ship needed, armor plating beneath the civilian hull. The Xiangnam Dawn was built on a military frame, Ji-won explained. Everything was disguised, but it's all still there. "I can bring the real weapons online in 8 minutes. Hyunwoo's eyes widened. "I knew it. I knew this ship felt different." "Captain," Yoonji said slowly, "if we fight, people will die. Maybe all of us." Daejung looked at her. "If we surrender, we become slaves. The Threxians don't treat their prisoners well. You know this, Doctor. You've read the reports." Yoonji nodded sadly. She had indeed read the reports. Threxian slaves rarely lived more than a year. "And there's something else," Daejung continued. He pulled up a star map. "This is a main trade route. 6 other human ships will pass through here in the next week. If the Threxians successfully capture us, they'll wait for the others. They'll take those ships too. More people will suffer." The bridge was silent as everyone understood what he meant. This was not just about their own survival. This was about protecting others. "I didn't join the merchant fleet to run away," Taeyang said. "I'm with you, Captain." "Same here," Ji-won added. "Let me show these aliens what human engineering can really do." Hyunwoo nodded firmly. "I've been waiting my whole career for this." Even Yunji, who hated violence, straightened her shoulders. I'll prepare the medical bay. We'll need it. Daejung felt something old stirring inside him, something he had buried years ago when he left military service. He remembered the war. He remembered what humans could do when pushed into a corner. The galaxy thought humans were peaceful. They were right. But the galaxy made a mistake. They thought peaceful meant weak. Listen carefully, Daejung said. We have 8 minutes. Jiwon, bring all weapons online. Hide the energy signatures as long as possible. Hyunwoo, review every weapon system. I want firing solutions ready for all 5 ships. Taeyang, plot an attack pattern. Make it impossible. Make it something they won't expect. What kind of impossible, Captain? Taeyang asked. The kind where we survive and they don't, Taeyang grinned. I have some ideas. Yunji, medical bay ready for combat casualties. Also check our chemical supplies. I want anything that can be used as a weapon. The doctor looked confused. Chemical supplies? Captain, I have medicines, not weapons. Doctor, in war everything is a weapon. You'll figure it out. The crew moved quickly to their tasks. Daejung watched the countdown timer. 7 minutes left. He opened a ship-wide channel. All crew, this is the captain. You all heard the threat. You all know what surrender means. I'm giving you a choice. We can fight or we can give up. I'm choosing to fight. But this is your life too. Vote now. Fight or surrender. He waited. One by one, responses came in from all 30 crew members. Every single response was the same. Fight. Daejung allowed himself a small smile. This was why he loved serving with humans. They understood something the rest of the galaxy did not. Sometimes the only choice was to fight back. On the view screen, Kalthor's ship drifted closer. The alien commander probably felt confident. He probably thought the humans were debating surrender terms. He probably believed his own reputation was enough to make them give up. He was about to learn a terrible lesson. Captain, Jiwon's voice came through the intercom. All systems ready. We're hot and ready to show them what we really are. Weapons locked, Hyunwoo reported. 5 targets. Solutions ready? Attack pattern loaded, Taeyang said. It's crazy. It might kill us, but it'll definitely surprise them. Daejung checked the timer. 10 seconds left. He took a deep breath. Then he pressed the communication button. Vex Prime Kalthor, he said calmly. I have an answer to your demand. The alien appeared on screen again, smiling with those sharp teeth. Yes, human? Have you decided to be wise and surrender? No, Daejung said. We have decided to teach you something. Humans are peaceful by choice, not by weakness. You made us choose. Now face what you've chosen. He cut the transmission and spoke one word. Fire. Aboard the Devourer's Talon, Vex Prime Kalthor turned away from the communication screen with satisfaction. The human had looked afraid. Good. Fear made prey easier to handle. Sub-Commander Nethris, Kalthor called out. Prepare the boarding teams. I want that cargo secured within the hour. Nethris stood at the tactical station. She was smaller than Kalthor, with lighter gray skin and a more thoughtful expression. She had served under 3 different Vex Primes, and she had survived by being careful. Something about this situation bothered her. Vex Prime, should we maintain combat readiness? The human asked for time to think. That seems unusual. Kalthor waved a clawed hand dismissively. They always ask for time. They hope for rescue, for mercy, for some miracle. There will be none. He looked at the crew around him. Does anyone here fear humans? The bridge crew laughed. It was a harsh sound like breaking glass. Humans, one of the tactical officers said, are the softest species in the known galaxy. They have no claws, no natural armor. They are slow and weak. They prefer talking to fighting, another added. They build hospitals before they build fortresses. Kalthor nodded. Exactly. When we raided the Velthian colonies last year, how many ships did we take? 12 Vex Prime, Nethris answered, all without a fight. And the Borvian traders? 23 ships. They paid us to leave them alone. But humans, Kalthor said with pleasure. Humans are different. They don't have money to pay us. But they have something better. They are useful slaves, strong enough to work, smart enough to follow orders, and too weak to resist, he smiled. This cargo ship is worth more for its crew than its cargo. Nethris pulled up data on her screen. Intelligence reports on humanity scrolled past. She had reviewed them before the ambush, but she looked again now. Something felt wrong. Humans had only joined the galactic community 40 years ago. They came from a planet called Earth far in the outer rim. They had spread to a dozen colony worlds. They traded fairly. They helped other species with medical aid and technology. They seemed genuinely interested in peace, but there were gaps in the data. Large gaps, Vex Prime, Nethris said carefully. The intelligence on human military capability is limited. We know they have a colonial defense fleet, but the size and strength are unknown. Because they have no real military, Calthor said. Why would a peaceful species need warships? They probably have a few patrol boats, nothing that could threaten us. But sir, we don't know. I know enough, Calthor interrupted. I know that in 40 years humans have never fought back against raiders. Not once. That tells me everything. Nethris wanted to argue, but she knew better. Calthor had not become Vex Prime by listening to caution. He had taken the position by being aggressive and successful. Maybe she was wrong. Maybe humans were exactly as weak as they appeared. She watched the countdown timer. 6 minutes until the human captain would answer. She spent those minutes reviewing what little information existed about human combat capability. There was not much. Humans had fought some kind of war among themselves before joining the galaxy, something called the Rebellion Wars, but the details were classified or simply not shared. Humans did not talk about their past conflicts. They preferred to discuss their peaceful present. That seemed wise. Why remind the galaxy that you once fought your own kind? But another thought occurred to Nethris. A species that fought itself and survived must have learned something, must have become good at fighting. And then they stopped. Not because they lost, but because they chose to stop. What kind of species chooses peace after mastering war? 2 minutes, the communications officer announced. Calthor stood from his command throne. He adjusted his armor, making sure he looked impressive. When the humans surrendered, he wanted them to see a proper warrior. It would break their spirits faster. Open a channel when they respond, Calthor ordered. I want to see the captain's face when he gives up. The bridge crew prepared. Boarding teams gathered in the launch bay. Weapons were checked. Restraints for prisoners were ready. Everything was proceeding as it always did. Nethris checked the tactical display. The 5 Threxian warships surrounded the human cargo vessel perfectly. No escape route. Overwhelming firepower advantage. By every logical measure, the humans had no chance. So why did she feel uneasy? Incoming transmission, the communications officer said. Calthor smiled and nodded. The human captain appeared on screen. He looked calm, too calm. His eyes were steady. There was no fear there, no resignation. Just a cold, clear focus. Vex Prime Calthor, the human said. I have an answer to your demand. Yes, human? Have you decided to be wise and surrender? No. We have decided to teach you something. Humans are peaceful by choice, not by weakness. You made us choose. Now face what you've chosen. The transmission ended abruptly. For a moment, the bridge was silent. Then Calthor laughed. Empty words. They think bravery will save them. Pathetic. But Nethris was already looking at her tactical screen. Something was happening. Energy readings from the human ship were spiking. Not small increases, massive spikes. Vex Prime, she shouted. The human ship is... The view screen exploded with light. Rails of magnetically accelerated metal tore through space at impossible speeds. They slammed into the nearest Threxian ship's shields. The shields held for exactly 1 second. Then they collapsed. The railgun rounds punched through armor like paper. Explosions blossomed across the ship's hull. Evasive maneuvers. Calthor screamed, but the human ship was already moving. It didn't move like a cargo vessel. It moved like a fighter. Fast, precise, impossible. The pilot must be insane or incredibly skilled. More weapons fire erupted from the human ship. Lasers, far more powerful than mining equipment should be, cut across 2 more Threxian vessels. Point defense systems tried to intercept, but the human weapons were faster than expected. Return fire, Calthor ordered. Kill them! The Threxian ships began shooting. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes filled the space around the human ship, but the cargo vessel twisted and turned, avoiding most of the fire. What did hit its shields held firm. Those were not cargo ship shields. Vex Prime, Nethris said, her voice tight with shock. That's not a cargo ship. That's a warship disguised as a cargo ship. Impossible! Look at the readings. That reactor output. Those weapons. That armor. Sir, we've been deceived. Calthor stared at the tactical display. The human ship had just destroyed one of his escorts completely. Another was venting atmosphere, its engines offline. In less than 2 minutes, the humans had done what should have been impossible. How? Calthor whispered. The intelligence said they were weak. The intelligence was wrong, Nethra said. She was already working on solutions. We need to withdraw and regroup. Call for reinforcements. No. Calthor's pride would not allow retreat. 5 ships against 1. Even if they have real weapons, we outnumber them. Focus all fire on their engines. Cripple them, then board. The 3 remaining functional Threxian ships coordinated their attack. They poured fire onto the human vessel from 3 directions at once. The human shields flickered under the assault. Good. They were not invincible. But then something impossible happened. The human ship charged its reactor beyond safe limits. Nethris could see the readings spike to dangerous levels. What were they doing? If that reactor exploded, it would destroy them. Vex Prime, they're overloading their core. A wave of electromagnetic energy burst from the human ship. It expanded like a bubble, washing over all 3 Threxian vessels at once. Every system on the Devourer's Talon went dark for 3 seconds. 3 seconds where Nethris could only watch in horror as their shields collapsed. Their weapons went offline. Their engines stuttered. When the systems came back online, the human ship was moving again. And it was heading straight for them. It's ramming us, someone shouted. Calthor finally looked afraid. Hard to port, move. The Devourer's Talon tried to turn. Its massive bulk fought against momentum. The human ship, smaller and faster, adjusted its course to match. It was going to hit them. A cargo vessel was going to ram a warship twice its size. At the last moment, the human ship fired all its forward weapons at point-blank range. The railguns tore into the Devourer's Talon's exposed hull. Then the ships collided. The impact threw everyone on the bridge to the floor. Nethris felt her head strike metal. Pain exploded through her skull. Around her, crew members screamed. Alarms howled. The lights failed, replaced by emergency red lighting. She pulled herself up, checking her tactical station. The damage report made her blood go cold. Main engines offline. Weapons at 30%. Hull breaches on 6 decks. Life support failing in sections 4 through 9. 1 cargo ship had crippled their flagship. Damage report. Calthor was bleeding from a cut above his eye. He looked shocked, confused. This was not supposed to happen. Sir, we're heavily damaged. The other 2 ships are also hurt. 1 is completely disabled. How many humans on that ship? Scans show 30 crew members, 30. 30 humans had done this to 5 warships and over 700 Threxian raiders. It seemed impossible. But the evidence was all around them in the form of fires and broken systems and injured crew. Vex Prime, Nethris said quietly. We need to retreat, now, before they finish us. For the first time in his career, Calthor nodded in defeat. Signal the fleet, withdrawal, maximum speed. But even as he gave the order, the Seongnam Dawn shook as another Threxian torpedo detonated against its shields. Sparks flew from a panel near Hyunwoo's station. He ignored them, keeping his focus on the weapons controls. Shields at 40%, Taeyang called out. The pilot's hands moved across his controls like he was playing an instrument. The ship twisted through space, avoiding 2 more incoming shots. I can't dodge forever, Captain. You don't have to, Daejung said. His voice stayed calm despite the chaos around him. Just long enough? He studied the tactical display. 2 Threxian ships were destroyed. Debris and frozen bodies drifted in the void where they once flew. A 3rd ship was dead in space, its systems offline. Crew abandoning in escape pods. That left 2 enemy vessels. The flagship Devourer's Talon was heavily damaged from their ramming attack. Its shields were down and it was trying to limp away. The final escort ship was positioning itself to cover the flagship's retreat. They're running, Hyunwoo said. There was satisfaction in his voice. Not yet, they're not, Daejung replied. G1 status on the mining charges? The engineer's voice came through the intercom from the cargo bay. Converted and ready, Captain. But these are improvised weapons. I can't guarantee they'll work properly. They don't need to work properly. They just need to explode. In that case, I guarantee they'll explode. Maybe too well. Everyone might want to hold on to something. Daejung allowed himself a brief smile. Hyunwoo, load the charges into tubes 3 and 4. Target the escort ship. Full spread? Yes, sir. The Seongnam Dawn carried mining charges for breaking up asteroids in the colony worlds. Each charge was designed to burrow into rock and detonate with precise timing. G1 had removed all the precision and added more explosives. She had turned mining tools into torpedoes. Charges away. Hyunwoo announced, 6 projectiles shot from the ship toward the Threxian escort. The enemy ship's defensive systems locked onto them immediately. Laser fire destroyed 3 of the charges. A 4th went off course and tumbled into empty space. But 2 reached their target. The first charge hit the escort's forward section and exploded. Armor cracked open. The second charge went through the hole created by the first and detonated inside the ship. The escort broke in half. Both pieces spun away, trailing fire and debris. Secondary explosions rippled through the wreckage as fuel lines ruptured and ammunition cooked off. Target destroyed, Hyunwoo reported. That left only the flagship. Daijung watched it on the screen, trying to crawl away to safety. He thought about letting it go, thought about showing mercy. But then he remembered what Calthor had said. Humans would become slaves, would be sold and worked to death. No, this needed to end completely. Taeyang, pursuit course. Bring us alongside their command section. Captain, Yoonji spoke from the medical station. We have 15 wounded. 3 critical. If we keep fighting, more will die. Daejung looked at her. The doctor's face was smudged with smoke and her uniform was torn, but her eyes were clear. She was not asking him to stop. She was just giving him information. How long can the critical patients wait? 20 minutes. Maybe 30 if I'm lucky. Then we end this in 15. He turned back to the view screen. Taeyang, execute. The pilot pushed the engines hard. The Seongnam Dawn surged forward, closing the distance to the flagship. The Threxian ship tried to turn and bring weapons to bear, but it was too damaged. Too slow. We're in range, Hyunwoo said. His fingers hovered over the firing controls. 1 good salvo and their command deck is gone. Hold fire, Daejung ordered. Captain? I said hold. Daejung opened a communication channel. Threxian flagship, this is Captain Daejung of the Seongnam Dawn. Your fleet is destroyed. Your ship is crippled. You have 1 chance to survive. Power down all weapons and prepare to be boarded. Static filled the line for a moment. Then Calthor's face appeared. The alien commander looked nothing like he had before. His arrogance was gone. Blood covered one side of his face. One of his 4 eyes was swollen shut. Behind him, the flagship's bridge was a disaster of smoke and sparking equipment. Calthor's voice was weak. You were supposed to be prey. We are not prey, Daejung said. We are humans. We choose peace when we can, but we choose survival when we must. This is impossible. 1 ship, 1 cargo ship. We had 5 warships, 700 trained warriors. You had ships? Daejung agreed. But we had something better. We had a reason to fight. Every person on my crew knows what you would have done to us. Every person chose to fight back rather than submit. That makes all the difference. Calthor's remaining eyes showed confusion. But humans are weak, soft. The entire galaxy knows this. The galaxy knows we prefer peace. That is not the same as being weak. Daejung leaned forward. You attacked us thinking mercy was weakness. Now you know better. Power down your weapons, surrender. Or I will finish what you started. The alien commander looked around his ruined bridge, at his dead and dying crew, at his destroyed fleet. Slowly, he nodded. We surrender. Smart choice, Daejung said. He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. Boarding team, prepare to secure the enemy ship. Hyunwoo, you're in command of the team. If they resist, you know what to do. The young weapons officer grinned. Yes, Captain. 10 minutes later, Hyunwoo led a team of 12 crew members across the empty space between ships. They wore emergency suits, not proper combat armor. They carried tools and improvised weapons, not military firearms. But they moved with confidence. The Threxian ship's airlock opened without resistance. Inside, alien crew members waited with their hands raised. They looked terrified. Word of what humans had done to their fleet had spread fast. Hyunwoo led his team to the bridge. Calthor sat in his command throne, defeated. Sub-Commander Nethra stood beside him, her expression unreadable. Where is your captain? Calthor asked. Managing the ship, Hyunwoo replied. He sent me to secure prisoners. He does not come himself to accept our surrender? Why would he? You're no threat anymore. The simple dismissal hurt worse than any insult. Calthor had been a great warrior, a feared commander. Now he was just another defeated enemy, not even important enough for the enemy captain to deal with personally. I need to understand, Calthor said.
How? How did you do this?
Your ship is a cargo vessel. Your crew are merchants, not soldiers.
How did you defeat us?
Hyunwoo looked at the alien commander for a long moment. Then he decided honesty was the best weapon now. You made assumptions, Hyunwoo said. You assumed that because we trade peacefully we can't fight. You assumed that because we help other species we're weak. You assumed that because we choose peace we don't know war. He shook his head. All wrong. But you are not warriors, Nethra said. She sounded genuinely confused. Your records show you are merchants, traders. We are, Hyunwoo agreed. But we're also human. Every human carries the history of our species. We come from a world where we fought each other for thousands of years. We built weapons that could end all life on our planet. We came very close to using them. Then why didn't you? Because we learned. We evolved. We decided that survival meant cooperation, not destruction. We chose to be better than our worst instincts. Hyunwoo gestured at the ruined bridge. But we never forgot what we learned about war. We just put it away. Hoped we'd never need it again. Until we forced you to remember, Kalthor said quietly. Yes. The alien commander slumped in his throne. We have made a terrible mistake. You have, Hyunwoo agreed. And now you're going to help us fix it. How? You're going to carry a message. To your people. To all the raiders and pirates in this sector. To anyone who thinks humans are easy targets. Hyunwoo's voice turned hard. The message is simple. We want peace. We will always choose peace first. But if you force us to fight, you will not face submission. You will face total destruction. We will not be prey, ever. Kalthor nodded slowly. I will carry this message. Good. Hyunwoo turned to his team. Secure all prisoners. Separate the wounded. Dr. Eunji will treat everyone, including the Threxians. One of Kalthor's crew members spoke up. You will heal us? After we tried to enslave you? Yes, Hyunwoo said. Because that's who we are. We fight when we must. But we don't let people die when we can help them. Even enemies. That's the difference between us and you. The Threxian crew members looked at each other with confusion and something that might have been shame. Back on the Seongnam Dawn, Daejung sat in his command chair and watched the stars. His ship was damaged. His crew was exhausted. 3 people were critically wounded. It would take weeks to repair everything, but they had survived. More than that, they had won. Tai Yang broke the silence. Captain, the flagship is secured. All prisoners accounted for. Dr. Eunji is treating casualties on both sides. Good work, Daejung said. Send a message to command. Let them know what happened here. Include all tactical data. They'll want to analyze it. Already done, sir. I also took the liberty of recording the battle. The whole thing. Daejung raised an eyebrow. Why? Because people need to know. Humans need to know we can defend ourselves. And aliens need to know we will defend ourselves. The captain considered this, then nodded. Distribute the recording on all channels. Military and civilian. Let everyone see what happens when you push humans too far. As the message went out across the galaxy, Daejung stood and walked to the viewport. The recording spread across the galaxy like fire across dry grass. Within hours, every major species had seen it. Within days, everyone knew what had happened to the Threxian fleet. On the council station, 5 representatives from the major galactic powers gathered in their chamber. They watched the battle recording for the 3rd time. Silence filled the room as the footage showed the Seongnam Dawn destroying 5 warships. Council member Vrex of the Borvian Collective spoke first. He was a large creature covered in thick scales with a voice like distant thunder. This changes everything. Agreed, said Council member Ishara of the Velthian Union. She was tall and thin, with skin that shifted colors based on her emotions. Right now it was showing deep blue, the color of concern. We believed humans were peaceful traders. We welcomed them as potential allies. But this? She gestured at the frozen image of a Threxian ship exploding. This is not the work of peaceful traders. They were defending themselves, said Council member Thrace of the Corvin Republic. His species was known for military strength and honor. The Threxians attacked first. The humans only fought back. With hidden weapons, Vrex pointed out. That cargo ship was armed like a warship. How many other human cargo ships are actually disguised military vessels? Nobody had an answer. Council member Iris of the Centauri domain, a floating jellyfish-like being, pulsed with light as she spoke. Perhaps we should ask the humans directly. They owe us an explanation. Do they? Thrace challenged. They have not broken any laws. Carrying weapons for self-defense is legal. Hiding those weapons from pirates seems wise, not criminal. The final member, Elder Koss of the United Fringe Worlds, finally spoke. He was ancient, even by his species' standards, and his words carried weight. The question is not whether humans broke laws. The question is what kind of species they truly are. We have data on 40 years of peaceful contact, but we also have millennia of their history before that. Has anyone actually studied it? The other council members looked uncomfortable. None of them had. Humans were new to the galaxy, young, unimportant except as trading partners. Nobody had bothered to dig into their past. I took the liberty of researching, Elder Koss continued. He displayed information on the chamber's screens. Humans fought each other for their entire recorded history. Thousands of years of warfare. They developed weapons of terrifying sophistication. Nuclear bombs, biological weapons, chemical agents. They came very close to making their own planet uninhabitable. But they stopped, Ishara said. They achieved peace. After nearly destroying themselves, Elder Koss replied. They learned from necessity, not nature. They are not naturally peaceful. They choose to be peaceful, and a choice can be changed. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. A naturally peaceful species could be trusted to remain peaceful, but a species that chose peace could choose war just as easily. What do we do? Vrex asked. Do we sanction them? Demand they disarm? That would be unwise, Thrace said. If we push them, we might push them toward becoming what we fear. Better to acknowledge their strength and work with them as equals. Elder Koss nodded. I agree. We should extend full membership in the council. Grant them the same protections and responsibilities as any major power. Make them our partners, not our enemies, the vote was called. It passed 4-1. Only Vrex objected, still fearful of human military capability. The decision was made. Humanity would be invited to join the Council of Five as a full member. But across the galaxy, not everyone saw the same solution. In Threxian space, what remained of their high command met in emergency session. The Devourer's Talon had limped home, carrying survivors and terrible news. Vex Prime Calthor stood before his superiors, stripped of his rank, explaining how he lost 5 ships to 1 human cargo vessel. You are a fool, Grand Admiral Vexus said. Her voice could have cut glass. You attacked a species you knew nothing about. Based on assumptions, based on rumors. And now we have lost 5 ships, 700 warriors, and our reputation. Grand Admiral, I followed standard protocol, Calthor protested weakly. Humans had never resisted before. All data suggested they were soft targets. The data was wrong. Vexus slammed a fist on the table. Because nobody bothered to gather real intelligence. Nobody asked why a peaceful species would need a colonial defense fleet. Nobody wondered what they were defending against. She leaned forward. I will tell you what they were defending against. Us, raiders, pirates, any threat to their people. They were always ready. We just never pushed hard enough to find out. What do we do now? Subcommander Nethris asked. She had been promoted to Vex Prime to replace Calthor, though she did not want the position. We survive, Vexus said. We adapt. We add humans to the forbidden target list. We spread the word to every raider fleet. Do not attack human ships. Do not threaten human colonies. Do not test them again. They will think us weak, Calthor said. Better to be thought weak than to be dead, Vexus replied. Calthor, you are hereby exiled from military service. You will spend the rest of your life telling anyone who will listen about what happens when you underestimate humans. Maybe your humiliation will save others from the same fate. Calthor left the chamber in disgrace. Nethris stayed behind, reviewing tactical data from the battle. Grand Admiral, she said, there is something you should know. The Seongnam Dawn was not a military vessel. It was truly a cargo ship, just modified with hidden weapons. And that means every human cargo ship might be similarly equipped. We have no way to know which ones are armed and which are not. Any ship we attack could be a trap. Vexus considered this. Then we attacked none of them. Ever. Pass the order immediately. The news spread quickly through the raider networks. Human ships were off limits. The reasoning was simple. It was not worth the risk. Better to find easier prey than to gamble with humans. Meanwhile, in human space, the Seongnam Dawn finally arrived at Novo Busan. The colony world was still being built, with only 10,000 settlers. When word of the battle reached them, the entire colony came out to greet the ship. Captain Dae-jung stood on the landing platform, uncomfortable with the attention. He was not a hero in his own mind. He had just done what was necessary. Captain, a young woman pushed through the crowd. Is it true? Did you really destroy 5 Threxian warships? My crew did, Dae-jung corrected. I just gave the orders. But you saved other ships. If the Threxians had captured you, they would have waited for more victims. You protected all of us. Dae-jung had not thought about it that way. He had been focused on survival, on protecting his crew. But she was right. By fighting back, by winning, he had made the trade route safer for everyone. Governor Park Min-ho approached. He was a short man with gray hair and kind eyes.
Captain, I've received word from Earth. You're being recalled for debriefing.
The Colonial Defense Command wants to hear everything about the battle. I expected that, Dae-jung said. But first we need to deliver our cargo. This colony needs medical supplies. Already unloading, the governor assured him. Your crew worked all night to transfer everything. They're remarkable people, Captain. The best I've ever served with. There's something else. The governor's expression became more serious. The Council of Five has extended an invitation. They want humanity to join as a full member, equal status with the major powers. Dae-jung raised his eyebrows. That's a significant change. We've only been part of the galactic community for 40 years. Apparently, recent events have convinced them we deserve a seat at the table. Or they're afraid of what happens if we don't have one, Dae-jung said quietly. The governor smiled. Perhaps both. Fear and respect often look similar from a distance. Dr. Yoonji approached with her medical report. Captain, all crew members are stable. The 3 critical patients will recover fully. I also finished treating the Threxian prisoners. They're healing well. How did they react to your help? The governor asked. Confused mostly, Yoonji replied. They kept asking why we would help them after they tried to enslave us. I told them it's because we're human. We fight when we must, but we don't abandon our principles even in war. And what did they say? One of them said he wished his people were more like us. That we were stronger than they could ever be. Not because of weapons, but because of our choices. Yoonji smiled sadly. I think we changed some minds today. That evening, Dae-jung stood alone on the observation deck watching the stars. Tae-yang found him there. Captain, we've been ordered back to Earth. The ship needs major repairs anyway. I know. There's talk they might give you a medal, make you an admiral, put you in command of a real warship. Dae-jung shook his head. I don't want any of that. Then what do you want? I want to go back to being a cargo ship captain. I want to deliver supplies to colonies. I want to meet new species and trade fairly. I want peace. He looked at the young pilot. We won today, Tae-yang. We survived. But 3 people almost died. Good people. That weighs on me. But if we hadn't fought, I know we had no choice. But that doesn't make it easier. Tae-yang was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Captain, what you did today will save lives. Every pirate who hears this story will think twice before attacking a human ship. Every raider will remember what happened to the Threxians. We might have stopped. 3 months passed since the battle. The galaxy was still adjusting to its new understanding of humanity. The Seongnam Dawn approached Earth, escorted by 6 Colonial Defense Fleet warships. It was not because Captain Dae-jung needed protection. It was because Earth wanted to send a message. This ship and its crew were important, honored, protected. Dae-jung stood on the bridge looking at his home planet through the viewport. Blue and green and beautiful. He had been born here in a city called Seoul. He had left to see the stars. Now the stars were sending him home as something he never wanted to be, a hero. Traffic control is giving us priority clearance, Tae-yang reported. They want us to land at the capital spaceport. There's going to be a ceremony. Of course there is, Dae-jung said with resignation. Lieutenant Hyun-woo turned from his station with a grin. Captain, enjoy it. How many people get to meet the president? I don't want to meet the president. I want to deliver cargo and get back to work. Too late for that, Engineer Ji-won said through the intercom. I've been reading the news feeds. You're famous, Captain. All of us are. There are children wearing Seongnam-don toys. Schools teaching about the battle. We're part of history now. Dae-jung closed his eyes. History. He had just wanted to survive, to protect his crew. Now apparently he was part of something bigger. The ship landed smoothly. As the airlock opened, Dae-jung saw hundreds of people waiting. Cameras, reporters. officials in formal uniforms. He took a deep breath and stepped out, his crew behind him. The crowd erupted in cheers. President Choi Soo-min approached. She was a tall woman in her 60s with silver hair and a firm handshake. Captain Dae-jung, welcome home. Madam President, I've read your report. Multiple times. What you and your crew accomplished was extraordinary. We survived, Madam President. That's all? You did more than survive. You changed everything. She gestured for him to follow. Walk with me. We have much to discuss. They moved through the crowd to a private area. The President's security kept everyone else at a distance. The Council of Five has formally invited us to become full members, President Choi said. Equal status with the major powers. This is unprecedented. New species usually wait centuries for this honor, because they're afraid of us now. Perhaps, but fear can be useful if managed correctly. She stopped and looked at him directly. Captain, I want to offer you a position, Admiral of the Colonial Defense Fleet. You would help shape our military policy. Teach others what you've learned. No thank you, Madam President, she raised an eyebrow. You're refusing a promotion to Admiral? I'm refusing to become what everyone thinks I am. A warrior. A military leader. That's not who I am. Dae-jung met her eyes steadily. I'm a cargo ship captain. I deliver supplies to colonies. I help build new worlds. That's the work I want to do. Even after everything that happened. Especially after everything that happened. Madam President, if I become an admiral, if I focus on military matters, then the galaxy learns the wrong lesson. They learn that humans are warriors first. But we're not. We're builders, explorers, helpers. I want to remind everyone of that. President Choi studied him for a long moment. Then she smiled. You're a wise man, Captain. Wiser than most admirals I know. Very well. You can return to cargo duties. But there is one thing I must ask of you. What is it? Tell your story. To military academies. To diplomatic schools. Help train the next generation to understand the balance between peace and strength. Can you do that? Dae-jung thought about it. If it means the next captain might not have to fight the way I did, then yes. I can do that. Far from Earth in Threxian space, former Vex Prime Calthor stood before a room full of young warriors. They had gathered to hear him speak. Not because they respected him, because his failure was now legendary. You look at me with contempt, Calthor said. I understand. I failed spectacularly. I lost 5 ships to a single cargo vessel. I brought shame to our people. The young warriors muttered agreement. But I will tell you what I learned, Calthor continued. Arrogance is more dangerous than any weapon. I assumed humans were weak because they appeared peaceful. I did not ask why a peaceful species would need a defense fleet. I did not wonder what history created their culture of peace. He displayed images from the battle on a screen. Humans fought each other for thousands of years. They became very, very good at killing. Then they stopped. Not because they lost. Because they won. They survived their own violence and chose a different path. Calthor looked at his audience. That makes them more dangerous, not less. A species that chooses peace understands the cost of war. They will not hesitate when survival requires violence. So we should fear them? One young warrior asked. No, we should respect them. Learn from them. They show us that true strength is choosing when to fight, not fighting all the time. Calthor's voice became passionate. I wish our people could be like them. We raid and steal because we think it makes us strong. But humans build and help, and they are stronger than we ever were. The young warriors left quietly, thinking about his words. Calthor knew he would spend the rest of his life teaching this lesson. It was his punishment, but maybe also his purpose. At the council station, the 5 members welcomed a 6th chair. Ambassador Han Jae-hyun represented humanity now. He was young for such an important position, only 40 years old, but President Choi had chosen him for his wisdom and patience. The council recognizes the human delegate, Elder Koss said formally. Thank you, Elder. Ambassador Han replied. I want to address the concerns I know many species have. Yes, humans can fight. Yes, we have hidden capabilities. But our fundamental values have not changed. We still seek peace. We still want cooperation. The battle with the Threxians does not define us. It simply revealed one aspect of who we are. But now that aspect is known, Council Member Vrex said. How can we trust that humans will not become aggressive? That you will not use your strength to dominate others? Because we have already walked that path, Ambassador Han replied. We fought ourselves nearly to extinction. We learned that victory through violence is temporary. Real peace requires mutual respect and cooperation. We chose to join the galactic community to find that peace. We have not changed our minds. Actions speak louder than words, Councilmember Thrace said. What actions will humans take to prove their peaceful intentions? We propose a treaty, Ambassador Han said. A mutual defense agreement. Any species that is attacked by raiders or pirates can call for human assistance. We will help protect the weak, not prey upon them. The council members looked at each other in surprise. This was unexpected. You would defend other species? Councilmember Ishira asked. Even those who have no alliance with you? Yes, because that is who we are. We believe the strong should protect the weak, not exploit them. Elder Cos nodded approvingly. This is a generous offer. We accept on behalf of the Council. Let this treaty be known as the Human Protection Act. The agreement was formalized. Within weeks, human patrol ships began traveling the major trade routes. They did not hide their weapons now. Every ship broadcast its identity clearly. Human colonial defense fleet armed and ready, but only for defense. Pirates and raiders learned quickly. When a human ship appeared, they fled. It was not worth the risk. The lesson of the Xiangnam Dawn had been learned well. Dr. Unji returned to her work on Novo Busan. The colony was growing rapidly now that the trade routes were safer. She opened a medical center that treated all species equally, humans, Velthians, Borvians, even Threxians who came seeking help. Her reputation spread. She became known as the doctor who healed enemies. One day, a Threxian transport arrived with wounded from an accident. Yunji and her staff worked for 12 hours to save them all. When the Threxian captain tried to pay, she refused. We don't charge for emergency medical care, she said. Life is valuable. All life. The captain looked confused. But we are Threxians. Your people's enemies. No, Yunji corrected gently. Some Threxians attacked us. But that doesn't make all Threxians our enemies. We judge individuals by their actions, not their species. The captain left with tears in his multiple eyes. He returned a month later with medical supplies as a gift. The beginning of friendship. Pilot Taeyang accepted a position at the Colonial Defense Fleet Academy. He taught advanced maneuvering to new pilots. His classes were legendary because he taught impossible techniques. Things that should not work, but in his hands they always did. Why do you teach us moves that are so risky? One student asked. Because safe moves are predictable, Taeyang replied. And predictable gets you killed. When you fight, especially when you're outnumbered, you must do the unexpected, the impossible. That's what creates opportunities, but what if we fail? What if the impossible move doesn't work? Then you learn and try something else. The point is not to succeed every time. The point is to never give up. To keep adapting. Keep fighting. That's the human way. His students graduated as the best pilots in the fleet. They carried his lessons with them. Be unpredictable. Be adaptable. Never surrender. Engineer Ji-Wan became the head of defensive systems development. She designed new ways to hide weapons on civilian ships. Better armor. Stronger shields. Her innovations were shared with allied species. The galaxy became a safer place because of her work.